gonna take a leak anyway.
So our next guest is a friend of mine from back in high school. What I remember from Keith, his name is Keith Yackey, is that he was a guy that could get people to listen to him no matter what. I remember in high school when you found Jesus, Keith. You would stand up.
I found him.
Yep. You would stand up on the picnic tables at lunchtime and preach to the masses.
Yes.
And then you were in a rock band for a while. You became a motivational speaker, and maybe you still do that. We'll get into that. And now you are a comedian, stand-up comedian.
I do stand-up comedy.
I saw you a couple days ago with a post that you were. I think you were opening for Brennan Schaub, one of my favorite people on the planet. Fucking awesome. Yeah. So here to tell some crazy stories about a crazy life is Mr. Keith Yackey.
Keith Yackey,
welcome to the show.
Keith Yackey.
Okay. So real quick, Keith,
yeah, man.
I have to we all have to ask you this one question before we even get started. You'll know exactly what it is when we start to ask it. But when we were all working at the same place, circa 2005, 2006, in an office, I was flipping through OC Weekly, and I saw an article where Keith Yackey and his band pulled off one of the biggest dick moves ever,
yes.
When you rented a giant semi-truck, drove it down the 101 freeway, parked it across the 101 freeway during traffic, got up on that on that truck and started playing music.
Yes.
Oh, that was you?
Let me fill in some details.
Totally. That's why I gotta hear this story, dude.
Because A, we bought the semi.
You bought that?
B, we wrapped the entire thing, and it said 1.5 million homeless children in America. What are we doing about it?
Okay.
We shut down Sunset and the 101 Boulevard, and we wrote a song called Traffic Jam 101.
Okay.
We recorded it, and we shot a music video and everything for it. And so that's what we did. We shut down 3 of the 4 lanes. We basically built a hatch on top of the semi, popped up there, locked everything, and had barbed wire around it so nobody could get up. And we rocked out for about 45 minutes. Went to jail for all of 28 hours, so hashtag thug life there. And raised about $50,000 for homeless children.
Oh, nice. Cool. Okay, so that's not that much of a dick move,
okay. Wait, how much of that money went to the kids?
Every bit of it.
All right. You got me. I'm back in.
I'm back on the
Yackey mobile. And a good portion of that was me donating to the kids. I really had a huge heart for homeless children.
That's awesome.
And still do. And it wasn't, when I found out about the problem, it wasn't like, oh shit, man, these kids lost their parents and so they're out on the streets, like we need to go take care of them. Actually, like 3/4 of the kids on the streets would rather go and live on the streets because they're being sexually, mentally, or physically abused, and they would rather go dig for like trash and food in the dumpster than be hurt at home.
Institution or at home. Oh, at home.
Yeah.
You bring up a good point because sometimes I'll see kids that, they'll grown and able kids, maybe 16 years old, and like, motherfucker, just go home. Like, I never take into consideration, like, well, home's not...
Like, home life can be messed up.
Fucking great.
Home might be the worst place you can go.
Yeah, dude. It's not like what we grew up with, man. Even if my dad was a dick, I'd be like, I'm running away, but like, you give me a night, I'm like, all right, I'm back.
Right,
you guys feed me and clothe me, and you actually tell me you love me, I'm back. That's not this. That wasn't the situation for these kids. So we figured, well, what's the busiest, most trafficked spot in LA? It's Sunset Boulevard and 101. Well, let's shut that puppy down and let's rock and roll.
Do people still bring that up, though? Do they see you and you're like, you're that fucking guy that shut down the 101? No?
No. Very few people ever bring it up, except when I met Joe Rogan for the first time. I said, because do you guys know he does a comedy bit about us shutting down the freeway?
No, I haven't heard that.
Yeah.
No.
So if you ever go on YouTube, look up dollar bills, y'all. And he does this clip about, he goes to the ATM and he's like, you sit out in the ATM and go, dollar bills, y'all, when the money comes out. But right after that, he said, have you ever heard these stupid songs that you can't get out of your head? He goes, I don't know if you heard about this, but this stupid band called Imperial Stars shut down the freeway, and here's the stupid song they wrote. And he did our lyrics.
No way.
And then he goes, it's the song ever written. He goes, until that night when I was having sex with Mrs. Rogan from behind, I started singing, I'm a rock star, baby, living on the edge. He goes, I can't believe I'm singing these guys' stupid songs. So I met him about a year ago, and we waited for him after the show. He was going to walk out. He was with Eddie Bravo and all like his entourage, and I said, hey, Joe, thanks for the shout-out. I didn't realize you had sex with your wife to my song. And he's like, and they all stopped. They're like, what's your band? What's your song? I'm like, Imperial Stars, Traffic Jam. One of them was like, he looked at me like, oh, like a real human being actually wrote that dumb song? So he shook our hand, took a picture with it. It was really fun.
So what's it like opening up for Shab?
Yeah.
It was insanity. I love stand-up comedy. I've been doing it for a little while now. But, you know, to do it, like, so I just did the Brea Improv about a month and a half ago, and we filled the place, man. We put 600 people in there, it was almost packed to capacity, and it was really cool to be on a big stage in front of a lot of people. So sometimes guys will bring their own openers, other guys just trust the local club to provide their own local guys, and I knew Wise Guys, and I knew Brendan doesn't want to do his, he just has them show up and bring, he doesn't bring his own guys. So I knew I could get on, and I got on, and we hit it off really well. And it was really cool because right when I got off doing my set, he's like, he goes, dude, you totally crushed. And then he quoted one of my, because I do this joke, I go, where's my gays? And so when I went backstage, Brendan was like, he's like, where's my gays?
That's right.
And I'm like, yeah. I said, dude, normally I get a lot more response, especially if I'm performing in Hollywood or, Brea or Southern California. So, yeah. It was epic. He's a really cool dude.
What did you do before you started comedy? And the reason why I asked that question is because just recently I saw a post from you on Instagram where you almost just went, I've been doing this shit for 10 years or however many years. I'm calling bullshit on this 30 years of just recycled Tony Robbins kind of bullshit. I'm done with it. I'm doing comedy. And then a few weeks later, you got a picture with Brendan Schaub. So what happened? How did you get started? And how did you decide that's not what you want to do anymore?
So it's not that I quit Motivational. It's not that I quit my business. And I'll tell you about that business here in a second. It's just I've now been getting on a lot more bigger stages with bigger names because I felt that my comedy was now to a point where I know I can go on stage and crush in front of Brendan Schaub and him go, dude, you fucking, like I have a video and he goes, dude, you fucking killed.
That's awesome.
And because I never wanted to be like a shitball comedian that just went in and threw my money around and whatever. I respect the craft, and I have such a reverence for what stand-up is that I always wanted comedians to be like, okay, he's a cool dude. The guy's wicked smart at business, but fuck, dude, he's funny. I always wanted them to at least respect me for my funny. So that's that. Now, when it comes to my business, I was actually a pastor. I don't know if you knew that part of me or not, but I actually went on to pastor a church. As soon as we graduated high school, I went to pastor a church up in this small podunk town right outside of Bozeman, Montana.
Jeez.
So we started this church. I had a bunch of kids. I married a gal. I went up and did that from 18 till I was 26. After 26, that's right around the time, 26, 27, that's right around the time my mom passed away from cancer. So it was like a big world view shift for me, like, holy shit, somebody I love so much now is gone. And her dying words to me, not on her deathbed, but in the last few months, was like, Keith, I regret a lot of my life. I didn't go after the things I wanted to go after. I didn't become who I wanted to become. I'm begging you, don't say the same things I'm saying on my deathbed when you get to yours.
Whoa,
and it radically changed my life because I was afraid to start a business because I didn't think I would be a smart businessman. I was afraid to do certain things. So I'm like, I don't know. I've never done that. I don't think I can do that. So it was that moment that I said, you know what? Fuck it. My mom actually told me when we were watching like this Flip This House TV show, and the guy on there was a total douchebag. And my mom looked at me, she goes, you could totally beat that guy. I'm like, yeah, he's a douchebag. He doesn't understand how to work with people or anything. So that's what gave me the idea of possibly going to do it. And then, yeah, man, I took to it like a fish to water. It was my thing.
So, Keith, my big question is, what was that post all about? When you,
Okay, yeah, sorry, we got to talk,
dude.
okay.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, is I built a couple of seminar companies with some buddies of mine. We did really, really well. We built a couple, actually 9-figure companies. So I got to see the insides and the workings of how it all worked. And I've become almost like curmudgeonly about the whole industry, because there is a lot of people just selling a bunch of horseshit of people who don't know any better. And they're just like, well, I guess I should buy this stuff. And so every like leader I've gotten to meet, whether it's Grant Cardone or all of those guys, I know them all. And some of them have actually spoken on my stage. There's some good ones and there's some bad ones. So it just gets old. The horse shit that gets sold gets really old. That's all that post was saying. So I still have my coaching companies. I still believe in motivating and inspiring and instructing and enlightening people on how to live a better life. I do believe there's a formula for it. I do believe there are steps and habits that you can build that will just not hopefully make you successful. They will make you successful. The same way if you jump off a 10-story building, you're going to die at the bottom. But there's a lot of charlatans and a lot of people that are just full of puffery, and it's just like, fuck this. I've caught myself just becoming almost like a cynical, critical kind of asshole as of late.
That's what that post seemed like. So I was like, whoa, what is going on here?
Yeah. And maybe it's the comic coming out in me, because as a comic I see a lot of shit, and I view it through a different lens.
You mentioned that you were really comfortable because you were a priest and you were used to going up on stage and everything else. How was your first stand-up performance? Like, were you nervous at all? Did you kill? Was it like, did you bomb?
Yeah, dude. I ate a big Black Panther dick.
Yes.
There it is.
There it is.
Deep in my heart, I've always believed I could be a good stand-up comedian. And my biggest fear was if I tried it and failed, then my dreams of wanting to be one would be totally damaged and dashed. So I thought, well, if I don't do it, I can always hold out this false belief I can do it. What'd you say?
Like that, some people have this, fear of success, like kind of almost how you just explained that. Where I don't really want to try this, because if I try it and I suck, then there goes all of my hopes and dreams. So I just rather not try it at all.
Exactly right. That's exactly what I did. Anytime I said I want to do something, I just hire a coach. I hire the best coach I can find. This guy toured with Andrew Dice Clay for 27 years.
Damn,
Jesus.
Like he's Andrew Dice Clay's best friend. So I'm like, okay, well, this guy knows a thing or two about the comedy scene and how to write jokes, and the guy's super funny. We would meet at Starbucks. And he goes, I don't want you to say hi to me. I don't want you to acknowledge me. I want you to walk in, sit down right across from the handicap table. And he goes, I want you to do 5 minutes. And I'm your only audience member. And that morning I was getting it ready, and I texted him. I said, hey, this is stupid. I'm not doing this. This is lame. He's like, cool, are you the teacher now?
Oh, shit.
And I'm like, no, okay, I'll see you at 2. And then I started complaining to my fiance. I'm like, this is so fucking dumb. Does this guy know anything? And she goes, oh, cool. So, like, you're going to pay him a bunch of money, but you're not going to, like, do what he says? Like, you don't know shit about this. And I'm like, you're right. That was my most nervous set I've ever done. I walked in there. I did 5 minutes of, we're going to use air quotes, comedy in front of him. And once I got over that fear, it was like, okay, I actually can do this. And this is what he told me. That's what he told me. And I just needed this vote of confidence. He goes, that wasn't that funny, but you have funny in you, and we're going to pull it out.
Oh, no,
and now you're
cool.
opening for Brendan Schaub.
That's cool.
Killing it.
And so, but that's what encouraged me. And then I realized, oh my God, I can actually do this. And then I just kept going up, and I kept hiring a coach, and I've got actually 3 comedy coaches. And I would work on my bits, and I'd work on my sets. I'm like, okay, how does this work? And what do you think of this? And I actually have a studio in my house with a microphone, a cable, everything that I run my bits on all the time, and I just drill it because I can tell you those bits inside and out.
Fuck yeah. Well, dude.
Yeah.
Keith, I'm so fucking glad you came on. Your fucking game. I had to hear that crazy ass story, the 101 story. It's not the dick move we thought it was.
No.
It's not the dick move.
It's actually very nice.
It was for the children. It was for the children, totally.
No, we're trying to help kids.
Dude, thank you so much, man, for coming on.
Did it? Do you think it will add value to anybody listening, or was it just entertainment? Like, is there anything else you want to know?
No, I think anybody trying to get into the game and having fear of having to do so, whether it's comedy or anything else at that. Just, I mean, hearing that, I mean, that's a lot of good shit and a lot of good information.
Yeah, it's your story, dude.
Yeah,
it's a
that
great
can pass
story.
forward to other people so that they're able to say, like, you know what? Maybe I do need to just stop being a bitch and just hurry up and get the shit done on any aspect. Comedy, sports, entertainment, business, I mean, whatever it is. I mean, going after and conquering your fears I mean, just like your mom, you know, like your mom said, you don't want to be on your deathbed and you regret, you know, particular things that you didn't try to go
and you took that dead serious.
Yeah,
and you are not going to go to your deathbed regretting anything. I can tell.
You stopped the 101, my friend. You stopped the 101.
Well, you know what's interesting, and it sounds like we're wrapping this up. I just want to say one more thing.
Yeah, of course.
And that's the driving motivation for a lot of the stuff I do now. Like what I've got cooking coming up right now, we're about ready to do a combat comedy tour for all the military bases stateside with some massive named comedians.
Nice.
And these are me and my buddy Phil. We're the ones putting them on. We're funding them, and I'm going to perform on them. So I'm excited to see where that goes. But I'm.
Do you want to plug that? Is there anything you want to plug?
Not yet.
All right.
But I'm just saying, I'm just getting started, and you haven't seen nothing yet, man. I'm 40 years old next month, and I feel like I'm 16, and I just got behind the wheels of my very first car.
Cheers, motherfucker. Cheers.
Well,
thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me on, man. It's such an honor.
So much for doing the show, brother. I mean, it's very inspirational to see shit like this, especially with people that's going out and living their dreams, dude. You know, living their dreams. So it's very motivational and inspirational to hear your story. And I again thank you so much for doing the show, man. We genuinely appreciate it.
All right, I appreciate you guys. Thanks so much.
Later,
peace.
Thank you, man.
We're back. All right. I watched one of the best heavyweight boxing matches